Speaking of strong drinkers, I was just watching an interview with John Daly the other night, and he was talking about how he doesn't drink water. He doesn't remember the last time he had a sip of water. Um,
Really?
But he puts plenty. Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean, look at the man. Now he puts plenty of ice into his sodas and his alcohol though, so he figures that's water. And
Technically, he's not wrong.
he's not wrong.
How dead does he look? On a scale of 1 to 10.
Man, I mean, he doesn't look any more dead than he did 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, he was like late 40s, and he looked probably late 60s. So, I don't know. He's at this weird place where he's just kind of stagnant.
Okay. Pickling. They call
Yeah,
it.
pickling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm not going to say that pickling oneself is good for oneself,
No.
but John Daly is John Daly.
He was talking about how he was drinking 12 to 20 Diet Cokes a day
Oh my God.
at his peak. Yeah. Plenty of hydration. Plenty
Disturbing
of
that 12 is the low end.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Bare minimum 12, one every 2 hours.
You got to get it in you. You know.
You
In
know
addition
you
to-
don't.
Yeah, 2 to 3 packs of cigarettes a day. He'd probably be rolling through McDonald's 3 times a day. Keep in mind, this is a world-class golfer. Let's don't forget this is one of the greatest. Well, he's in the top 50 of all time.
When you said top, I was like ready to be impressed. Then you
No,
said 50.
Man, no, I joke. He's probably in the top. I don't know, 20 for sure. If someone argued he was in the top 10, then I don't know. He crushes it.
All right.
He's a big boy. That's what eating McDonald's 3 times a day will do for you. It'll at least let you hit the ball far.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. Anyways, video games?
Okay, video games.
Yeah.
There are golf video games. I played about an hour of PGA 2K21 because it was on PS Plus, I think, 1 month.
Yep.
Man, who's that narrator they have for the tutorial?
Dude.
Did you play the tutorial?
Oh yeah. They missed the mark on a lot of that shit.
Wow. It sounds like placeholder dialogue that, some designer recorded through his iPhone at his desk.
That's how the entire commentary track sounds.
The tone is so far off what it should be in a tutorial. And well, then you're going to get up on the dance floor there and you're just going to putt. You're just going to putt the ball. Yep, there you go. Oh, and you missed it. That's too bad.
Good. Cool.
Anyways, that is a mediocre video game.
Very.
Anybody play any good video games? Because I have mediocre to talk about. But should we start with the good?
I have some good. Listen.
Give me the goods.
Have any of you motherfuckers played a game called Animal Crossing?
I have.
Because there's some stuff that came out for it that's new and is really cool. In fact, it's kind of a toss-up whether the free content or the pay content is the cooler content, because all of it's pretty good.
Okay.
I got access to the expansion pack online service, which includes some bullshit, some bad shit,
Mm-hmm.
and Animal Crossing DLC. And let me tell you, that DLC, if you ever felt like when you were like designing your home, for example, like frustrated at the pace of it. How like it takes so long to get like a couple of things together to make a really put together or like a themed room. You know what I mean? Like if you ever thought like, fuck man, I have to sit here and toil and struggle for days and weeks and months just in the hopes that the final piece of the rattan set will drop into my lap and I can make a really, really horny bedroom set. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? That is just not a thing anymore when you're designing vacation homes for your funny little animal friends, because you have infinite access to supplies. So if you want to do something like 9 50-inch TVs on each of the 4 walls, you can do that. If you want to hang endless amounts of crap from the ceilings, which is the thing you can do now. There's ceiling crap. You can do that. If you want to like stretch and squeeze the size of the single space that the vacation villager is working with, that's a power you get too. Partition walls, you better believe it. And like, yeah, God, it's just so freeing to be able to like, somebody's like, oh, I really want to make a gamer space. And like, sick, man. I apparently have infinite money and you do too. So let's dance. So you just make him like a little like Twitch streamer space with like all the RGB he could ever dream of. And like really expensive looking ceiling light riggings and floor light riggings and like TVs and laptops and like gaming gear and cords just cluttering every part of it. And like, yeah, it just looks perfect. It looks like he spent in real life $50,000 or $60,000 to make this perfect streaming space. It's just like any theme you can think of. Like the one guy who was like, my vacation home should have as many toilets as possible. I was like, brother, I got you covered. Your vacation home will be the nicest bathroom you've ever stepped foot in. So there is no bed because you didn't ask for one. So sorry, but like 13 toilets? It's happening.
So you make spaces for other human beings or for Animal Crossing characters?
Animal Crossing characters.
Okay.
You get access to this big map, and like every day you can just roll through the beach at the island resort, and so you walk up to people and they're like, I want this theme or I want this theme. And you just build them a home on one of the islands, and there's
Sick.
a lot of islands and there's a lot of homes. Like your home island has like a limit of like 10 people that can be on it, including yourself. This place, at the time I was writing the review, we weren't totally sure how many people you could cram onto that map. They'd stuck like, because you can have people with roommates, right? When you progress far enough in the home design. So like, you can make like combo spaces, and you can cram like a lot of people, like a lot of people in a lot of homes on that island. So like, so that's cool. You will absolutely run out of ideas before you run out of places to put those things.
Uh-huh. This
and
is the paid content, right?
Yes, but there's a lot of free stuff as well. Farming is part of the free content update 2.0.
Okay.
Brewster's Coffee Shop, which as far as I can tell is entirely just like new flavor text dialogue from various villagers. Where it's just like, you can learn crazy shit about people if you catch them at the coffee shop. They'll just talk your head off about all sorts of nonsense. And that's cool. The gyroids are back.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, they're not really for anything. They're just neat. You can add like soundscapes to rooms now, I guess, is the thing you can do. Harv's Island, where you could normally just go to take photos, you can now set up a whole bunch of different shops, including a permanent place for that shady-ass art dealer, so you can fill up one room with stolen forgery paintings that, let's be real, they still look pretty classy on your wall. Like, none of your guests are going to be able to tell the difference. That's for damn sure.
Nice.
Yeah, so all the guys that would, like, roll through, a bunch of the guys that would just roll through, like, once a month, twice a month, you make them a permanent shop on Harv's Island. You can just go there. And there's also this feature where you can like Cap'n, the little
I've seen Cap'n.
frog dude. Yeah. You can go on boat rides to like weird islands. They're not like that weird. Like, I guess if it's like an RNG thing, like, so far my experience with it has been pretty middling. But I did find, like, sugarcane just growing in the wild, which is very important for making all the different foods you want to make.
So it sounds like this, at least the free update and the DLC as well, have kind of turned this into the Animal Crossing people were actually looking for in March of last year. Because there was, as much as people loved it and as much as they played it, there was a lot of chit chat about what was missing or what people thought was missing from it. Sounds like they've added a lot of that stuff in.
A ton of shit. I'm probably missing a couple of things.
Sweet.
But yeah, I on the island, there's also like public spaces you get to design. So far I've just done the school, which is where they introduced the ability to change the size of the space. So I was like working with this little one. It was like, I don't really have room to cram in all the crazy crap. I have this like model of the human body, and I want to put him, you know, on the side over there, but I didn't have enough room. So I just go to the sliders, and suddenly this classroom is fucking gigantic. And then you can fit like 6 more blackboards in there and a bunch more desks.
Nice.
And then people will show up and learn things. I don't know what these people do. It occurs to me that we're never told how old any of these characters are. Like, that's very nebulous. Like, you have a home loan, right? And you like had to make money and like pay rent and shit. So like, presumably you're some kind of adult, but like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it is a Japanese game, so if it goes by standard Japanese game standards, you could argue that your character is saving the world because, you know, you've provided a place for other Animal Crossing characters to live. So you're probably mid-teens at most. Sounds like a good age to be strapped with crippling debt.
My bedroom has a lot of rattan for a teenager. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like a lot of rattan.
Side note, you mentioned the toilet thing. That's actually, I think that's key to the Animal Crossing experience. Like, if you're building a house and you don't have a toilet in every room, regardless of what the purpose is, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you need to be able to poop any place. All right, that's important.
There's a lot of different toilets. You got to display them in one way, shape, or form, and that could be multiple toilets in a single bathroom, but I find that weirder than having a bathroom and a toilet in your kitchen.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, there's that.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, if you wanted more out of Animal Crossing, you absolutely have it. Like,
Cool.
full stop. It's good.
You mentioned there was a bad side to the Switch expansion pack. Is that Nintendo 64 games? We kind of touched on this last time, but
yeah, like they're fine, I guess. Like, apparently a lot of the bad frame rates and stuff like that is like really dependent on like what kind of connections you're trying to make work. Like, it's not a new level of shitty. It's just like Nintendo Switch Online service is generally kind of bum jumped. And so
yeah.
if you try to make that work in combination with these games that were never really meant to have online functionality, it's gonna be a pretty bad time. But like, by themselves, like in a vacuum or whatever, they're fine. Winback is gross. I don't like that. That's a gross game. I played that for like 45 minutes and it made me really sad. It's really gross. It's like riding on the shoulders of GoldenEye, kinda, but like, or like, no, like more like Metal Gear Solid. Like, it's riding on the shoulders of Metal Gear Solid, but with like really boring, bland level design and really aggressive auto aim. So it's like an on rails. Well, it's just like a little third person kind of cover shooter, but you're just sort of, you're not using any skill for it. It's really bad.
Who made that?
And then
It's like a Majesco or something.
I don't know, some company that can't possibly exist anymore. Sin and Punishment rules though. That one,
Yeah,
is dope. And the Sega Genesis games don't, like, they're fine. They play exactly as you remember them playing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Here's a dark thought. Winback may be the first quote unquote cover shooter in an endless string of cover shooters that has extended to today. What if Winback comes out like 1997, 1998, whenever it is, and a young Cliff Bleszinski plays Winback and says, I love this. I'm going to perfect this formula. And Gears of War was born.
Yeah. I can definitely see somebody playing that and be like, I could make a better game. Yeah. You know, like, that's a key moment in your creative journey when you're like, this sucks. I could definitely do better.
Wow, this is bad.
Yeah. It's very important.
Well, at least we have this new historical record so that people such as yourself can pick up the expansion pack and experience Winback as it was meant to be experienced. In
if there's
very muddy, foggy, auto-aimy form.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there who's like, no, if you play it on the original hardware, it's so much better. You, sir, are a fucking liar. I'm going to tell you that for free right now.
I do remember that game being kind of hot shit back in the day. It was one of those games that you couldn't really find, and anybody that had played it was convinced it was amazing. Glad to hear it wasn't, and I didn't actually miss out, and because I was perfectly happy playing Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Because that game's rad.
It is. It is rad. Rhett, what have you been up to, man?
Well, I've been playing that Grand Theft Auto trilogy, and I know Paul's been enjoying it as well.
Woof.
Yeah.
Woof.
Woof.
You want to go first here?
Well, like, I will, because I really don't have that much to say about it. Not the kind of fire that I feel like you're about to bring. I'm not having as bad of a time with it as the entire internet is. Yeah, there are a lot of frame drops, and I mean, it plays like a 20-year-old. All three of them, they play like they're 20 years old. There have not been a lot of improvements made to the gameplay, but you know, they marketed them as updates while still retaining the original look and feel of the three games, and I feel like that's kind of what they did deliver. But yeah, it obviously it needs some work, because there's no way that these games should be dropping frames on the PS5. I've been playing them on the PS5, and yeah, I don't know.
I was taken aback, we'll say, by many screenshots of people comparing old character models to new ones, and it seems like there was many times where they took something that was ugly and they made it a very different kind of ugly, but they didn't really like improve the look in any way. It was just like,
yeah,
it's
just a new kind of ugly. Yeah, totally. And like, I don't know, is that what they? Well, no, I think that's just a cop out. But hey, I think there's people that would argue that, or maybe it's just me that would argue that the original games were kind of ugly. especially the character models, I should say. So these
yeah.
character models being a new kind of ugly, it makes me feel nostalgic. It takes me back to my childhood, you know?
Right.
I was looking at some mods. That mod that you sent me, Paul, the Vice City mod, wow. That shit looks incredible, like absolutely incredible. But it doesn't look like Vice City. It looks like what GTA 6 should be, you know? If I was playing that, I'd be like, man, I don't feel like I'm playing Vice City. So I don't know, Paul. What do you think?
I think there's no way these should have been released like this.
Yeah,
it's on the same level as how badly optimized and how badly Cyberpunk 2077 performed. Honestly, it's ridiculous. These games are 20 years old. They've been shined up, quote unquote, to look like Xbox 360 / PS3 games at best, and they can't run at 60 frames a second. What does a game like this need a fidelity and a performance mode for?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. And besides that, they've, as bad as a lot of the character models and a lot of the scenarios looked in those original games, they at least had an art style. They had a design that they were going for. Vice City had a very particular look and feel. So did San Andreas. So did GTA 3. They've thrown that out the window to make all three of these games look like generic mobile games. And I don't understand why. Like, you hit the nail on the head with the character models, James. They took characters that looked awful, but were memorable. And I don't know what they did to them. Like, was this some kind of AI upscale that they did that made everything look bad?
Okay, but these characters weren't memorable for the way that they looked. They were memorable for the performances that the actors brought to them. And that is all still there. It's all still the same game.
It's all still there. How much of San Andreas have you played?
I put in 3-4 hours.
Those character models look worse than the originals. Honestly.
Yeah, especially coming from GTA 3 in the trilogy. What's his name? Claude? He looks a lot better than CJ does.
Yeah.
He's got more texture to his clothing. His belt is actually like, it seems like it's a separate asset and not just like painted onto him. Whereas CJ, he looks like he's wearing painted on clothing, you know? Definitely.
Like, general sniff test of this thing, it seems like they started to do the work and they did that Claude character in GTA 3 and realized we do not have the resources, we don't have the money, we don't have the time. This has to come out this year.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing they did. They sent the rest to some kind of server farm to be AI upscaled, and they shoved it out the door. The rain effect is the most horrible, disgusting effect I have ever seen in a video game. It makes the scene invisible. There's just this high contrast white rain that's coming down in the exact same plane as your character, regardless of where you are. It's fucking gross.
Yeah, the rain.
How did they make
the rain is brutal? It's true. It's with just these white streaks that completely dominate the scene. And then, like, my favorite thing is you'll like turn the camera and then the rain will just be gone. You know, like the way that they.
I also saw several places, like especially in GTA 3, in that first mission when it's raining, there are lots of places where the rain interacts weirdly with water. So when they're up on the bridge, the rain is coming down and then it's going behind the water that's in the river, and then it's back out in front again, like it's clipping behind the water. Like, this is very, very basic QA stuff that literally every tester would have experienced because it's repeatable, and they didn't fix it. Like, this is a cash grab, and I'm a little disgusted that they've tried to remove the old versions from being available. They've gone way out of their way to take down any mods that are available for the old games. to make this the thing that you must buy if you want to play these games again?
It it kind of seems, to me at least, like they had this grand vision for how they were going to shine up these 3 games. And then, like you said, Paul, they started to do the work, realized how impossible it would be, because maybe I'm misremembering, but my understanding is that there has never, ever been a Grand Theft Auto game after 3, like 3 and above, that you could just play on PC without like a long, extensive, exhausting kind of like end user level QA like slog, right? Like you had to like do all this like optimization testing, you had to like fuck with all these settings. Even after that like long process, there was still a pretty good chance that you just could not play it on your system. Like I missed Grand Theft Auto 4 because my computer, whichever one I owned at the time, would just have like some setting or some shit about it that you just was just like, no, I'm sorry, you can't run this. And I'm like, nah, dude, it seems like my system can definitely do this. Your game is just fuckoed, you know? And that's all of them. That's all of them. All of them are like that. So the idea that they were just going to take these 3 games and just like slap them onto modern consoles and it was going to be fine, fucking laughable. These things are built in like fragile, gentle little structures held together by wishes and dreams, every single one of them. And then they were just like, no, we're just going to rip the guts out of these fucking things and make them into modern games. You're not, and you're fools to think you could.
Totally.
So the template to do this does exist, and it exists in the form of that mod that Rhett was talking about, which is it's Vice City rebuilt in GTA 5, modded into GTA 5. That's how they got it to look like that. They added in ray tracing and stuff. It's possible. You just edit a map, make it look like Vice City, add in Tommy Vercetti, bingo, bango, bongo. You got Vice City, and it plays like GTA 5. So decent instead of trash.
Right.
These games have not aged well in comparison to a lot of other things. They do not play well at this point.
No, especially 3. Holy fuck, man, especially 3. It's really, really janky. But that's not, I don't think that that's a definitive edition problem. I think that if I went back and played these games on the PS2 right now, they would be janky as fuck.
Yep.
It'd be difficult as fuck just because, man, the aiming is so bad. And the DualSense is really starting to spoil me, because not having any sort of like feedback when I'm shooting it like kills games for me. I can't get into them because of this.
The other thing that's been really amazing playing some of these games again is how little Rockstar's game design has changed in 20 years.
Yeah.
The missions and the mission design in GTA 3 is the same as Red Dead Redemption 2. Like
absolutely.
There's nothing different about it. And that's a little scary.
The only difference is the missions in GTA 3 take literally 90 seconds to complete, where the missions in
It's
like
true.
I just did this big mission where you go and steal this boat and you take out this other guy who's riding a boat. It's like this big part of the story. It took probably 60 seconds. Go there, do it, boom, bada boom, bada bing, 50 grand in the bank, done. With Red Dead, obviously missions take 10 minutes, but you're right, like it's the exact same structure for the past 20 years. Even the control scheme, like it's right.
Walk into the light to continue. Drive your horse into this area to continue. But it is nice that the missions are so short. Like that first mission in GTA 3, like, oh, you got to go pick up Luigi's girls. I was like, oh god, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. You get in the car and the place you got to pick the girl up is literally a block away.
Yeah.
It's 15 seconds to get there and back.
Yeah, 100%. I was just doing this one where you got to steal these cars and then you got to take them to like a dealer, and if you scratch them at all, you have to take them to
Oh,
the
God.
spray and pay, right? The spray and pay though is literally touching the dealer's place. It's literally next door, one spot over. So if you scratch a car, then I mean, yeah, it's going to be really difficult to get that fixed.
Well, at least they knew how bad the driving is in those games. Side note, I'm pretty confident that the driving in Cyberpunk 2077 is modeled after the driving in GTA 3.
Oh, that's bad.
So playing that last year and going, God, this driving is atrocious. And then I was playing GTA 3 and I'm like, God, this driving is atrocious. Light bulb went on. Bingo. They've been planning that game for a long time, so. Anyway, maybe they'll fix some of this stuff. Story at the end of the day is they didn't do enough work on this to make it a definitive edition. This is GTA PS2 era again. And that's it. Probably looking worse. I think they look worse because of the lack of art direction.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's tough to call them definitive when you're missing Billie Jean from Vice City.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wasn't that the song that played at the start of the game?
There's a lot of songs missing.
Are they replaced with other tracks, or are they just these big haunting gaps in the middle of playlists?
Honestly, though, I think the track list that came out that was quote-unquote missing, this is just another example of the sort of bad press that this game has been getting, because the original track list that came out had a bunch of stuff that is in the game, and everybody was all up in arms. Oh, you don't have this and this. A radio killed the video star and fucking whatever. Love Pistol. They were saying that all the fucking the Rockstar like original music wasn't in the game. It's all there. The Love Pistol, they're all there. Yeah, they're missing some stuff, but you know, it's not that bad.
But you're still better off playing the original games than playing this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think. Like, there's no good reason to buy this if you own the originals. Or if you could get access to the originals, like buy them used or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't there like an older, shittier version of this trilogy just like floating around in the ether somewhere?
I think they remastered San Andreas in the 360 era.
Yeah.
But I very much appreciate mission restarts, the quick restarts that you can do in all three of the games now. A huge quality of life improvement. And I very much appreciate the quick load times as well.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So this past week, last weekend, I did Extra Life.
Yes.
So I played a lot of games for 24 hours straight, in fact. A lot of old stuff because it's really easy to just, play 6 hours of Destiny in a stretch. Also played something new. I played in that stretch was Call of Duty Vanguard.
Oh.
And it's weird. It's a weird combination of things. Because it is Call of Duty.
Okay.
It's Call of Duty again. World War II setting. Campaign looks phenomenal. Incredible rain effects. Some really cool character work, and some of the animations tech that they have in that new Call of Duty engine is best in class. And at the same time, for some reason, the walk/run speed is about a third of what it is in other Call of Duty games.
Are they just like trying to control the pacing?
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah.
like, what's the deal?
Exactly.
Realism.
That's my theory, is that they slowed down the walk speed to make the campaign last longer. Because in its current state, as it exists now, with this slow walk speed, it is maybe 5 hours long.
Ooh.
So if you could go Call of Duty speed through this thing, you're done in like 2 hours.
But so is there not a sprint?
There is a sprint, and there's a like level 2 sprint above that. That's like this charge where your dude holds the gun up above,
Right.
and really charges, and that speed is maybe the regular run speed in Call of Duty.
Ooh, god damn. Is it the
It's so
multiplayer
slow.
like that too?
I haven't played enough of it to really have a sense of it. Like, we were playing it really at the end of the 24 hours, so it was not my finest performance or not my most critical eye,
Sure, fair
but
enough.
it felt really slow
Yeah.
in the multiplayer too.
Crazy.
But again, Call of Duty stuff again. It's like a big summer blockbuster movie. The guns sound amazing. It's real epic all the time. And it just charges you set piece to set piece. If you're looking for that kind of fun time, it's definitely worth having a go at. It looks amazing on the new consoles.
That's good.
Yeah, be best in class. They really are always best in class with their campaigns. They're always sort of pushing the cinematic campaign. You know, they never make them long, but they always make them like a fucking 6-hour Hollywood movie. And yeah, now I'm more interested in Vanguard than I ever have been. I want to check this campaign out.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, especially going back to the historical setting with, World War II. I definitely find myself way more engaged with those campaigns just because it is in a historical setting, even if it's a fantasized version of that or a glorified version of that for whatever group of people you happen to be playing as. Yeah. It's nice to be in that historical setting and feel like you're part of a bigger effort. In something like Infinite Warfare, even though the stakes are tremendously high, you feel less engaged. So I hope they go back to the historical well a little bit more with the series. I think there's more they could do there. Yeah. But at the same time, it's got all the multiplayer stuff. It's got all the zombies stuff that you've come to expect. Zombies is zombies, and multiplayer is multiplayer. There are a couple new modes that are pretty interesting. One that's kind of akin to that gunfight mode that was in a few games ago, where you're just dropped into a small map and then this round is throwing knives, and this round is this AR. Kind of like that, but on a bigger scale. So there's some good stuff. If you're the kind of person who's into Call of Duty and plays a lot of Warzone and stuff like that, I could see Vanguard being worth it. Sounds like they're going to do actually a Warzone / Vanguard Battle Royale thing at some point. The new map. Could be fun.
All right.
Outside of that, I've just been playing a lot of Forza Horizon 5. Game is so good.
Okay, so real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
We had a conversation last time about Forza Horizon 5, and you talked a good talk and really made it seem like it was going to be a good time. You neglected to mention that one of the car horns you can have is the Windows XP shutdown noise.
Oh, yeah.
All right? Like, really, I really would have appreciated that information 2 weeks ago. All right? Like,
there's a lot of good shit like that. There's a lot of references to both Microsoft stuff and other Xbox games. Like, I think one of the car horns is the Sea of Thieves theme as well. Lots of stuff like that. There's Halo stuff. Like, you can drive a Warthog. It costs like $2 million, but I bought it, and it's rad, clearly. And you can still take it to the paint shop and put all kinds of like Monster Energy decals all over it if you want.
Hell yes,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, like, I feel like they don't do quite a good enough job communicating to the audience that they have that power. Because mostly they want to spend their marketing budget and be like, this is such a realistic looking driving experience. It's amazing. It's like we just took a 4K video camera and shot some footage of amazing cars. You're like, yeah, but what about the wacky bullshit? Like, right?
Yeah.
And that wacky bullshit is definitely in there and a big part of the experience. I think more in this one than in the past. The map they have here has so much off-road ability, and there's so many off-road vehicles that you can go anywhere, and you want to drive up the side of the volcano and then, like get up a good speed and launch off the edge of it. Yeah, you can do that. There's probably a challenge that you can do up there, and you need to jump your car 700 meters to get the 3 stars, and you're going to do it because it's pretty cool. And yeah, I haven't gotten sick of it at all. Like, if I have any downtime, I want to fire it up and just see what kind of challenges they have this week. Because they do still have, and I didn't talk about this last time, but they do still have that season feature that they had in Horizon 4, where the season changes every so often. So the terrain kind of changes and the weather changes and the challenges change. It's a little less dramatic than in the English countryside. So like, you're not going to get a snowy season, but
DLC.
Could be. Is there a snowy region in Mexico? They could make one.
I mean,
this is the
they
island
could
of
make
snow,
one, right?
They'll make it.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
they did the I can't remember what it was called in 4, but they did some sort of special island DLC where they took you off the main part of the game, and so I mean, I'm sure they could do something like that in this one. I gotta give special props to Playground for the optimization. We were talking about this before we started here, but I have been playing just a little bit of it on the launch Xbox One, and I am shocked at how well it runs. Especially talking about GTA, how these are fucking 20-year-old games that have apparently been remastered and they can't hold 60 frames. I'm just shocked at how well Forza 5 runs on this Xbox One. That, quite frankly, Paul, like you said earlier, that shit couldn't run games properly at launch. So the fact that it's running Forza 5, yeah, it's not as graphically intensive as it is on the new Xbox, but it's still a fucking beautiful game. And the fact that it maintains a steady, solid 30 frames, man, it's impressive.
And from what I've seen, there's not a whole lot different graphically. Like, it's not like the settings are dialed way, way down. They're dialed back a little bit, and
Yeah.
terrain's gonna pop up in front of you a little bit closer to the car than it does on other things. But mostly it's just the resolution. Like, it's just not at 4K now; it's at 720 or something like that, and it still looks really good.
Absolutely. It's a fucking driving game. That's the beauty of driving games, is that they don't really need to look great. They just need to look, pretty good. And once you're in motion, it'll be fucking fantastic.
How are you feeling about the driving feel?
Well, I haven't been able to actually plug my wheel in and try it with that. So, and playing it at 30 frames as well, I don't think racing games should be played at 30 frames. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that once I actually am able to play it at 60.
Fair.
But with that being said, totally like manageable, fun on the controller. Yeah, like I really don't have any bad things to say about it right now from the little bit I have played, again on the shitty hardware.
Yeah, I think it's a lock for the top 10 this year for sure. Wouldn't be surprised to see it even on the like the Game Awards final ballot for best game of the year. It's that good.
I think it will. There's nothing else. I mean, Halo is going to be the only other thing that they kind of are going to be able to throw Microsoft a bone with. But I think the people that want Microsoft and the Xbox to succeed, there's going to be nothing else to choose. And so we're going to see Forza at the top of a lot of people's lists.
Halo might
And
be
shit.
coming out a little too late for the
Is it? Oh yeah, I guess
for
it's
contention
December,
this year.
right? Yeah.
It's kind of in that weird spot where even for us, you know, if we're doing a podcast in the first couple of weeks of December, probably like maybe one of us will have played it. So
Maybe.
it's a little hard to give the proper props to anything that comes out in December.
Maybe we should try to wait for that Game of the Year cast.
I don't know, man. Pretty dicey doing that biz in December, you know. People are going to see families and shit, such as myself. Yep. Anyways,
I like that character, James. You bring that character back once in a while.
Yeah.
Anybody else been playing anything cool?
Yeah. Fucking yeah, man.
Ooh.
I didn't get a ton of time with Pokemon Brilliant Pearl because I had a bachelor party this weekend. Yeah. But I did get some time in, and it's it's so weird. It's so weird. Like if you're the sort of terminally online person like I am, and probably the three of us are, you've probably seen people bitching about the graphics for the Diamond and Pearl remakes because they look fucked, right? Like they're just like why would you make the decisions you made when you made them for this remaster? And having sat down and played the games, or at least Pearl, I don't really have any answers. In fact, I'm more confused than I was before I picked it up.
Oh. So
here's the deal. The textures look kind of basic, but also there's lighting effects. So like if you're inside a building, the floors are so polished you can see an active reflection of your character moving around, and like everybody else as well. And your shadow is like animated, not static, and it moves with you. And all of the individual objects are like clearly and carefully rendered in that weird kind of shitty graphical style. It's like they took great pains to preserve the spirit of the original release, and they're trying to balance this with like a newer, more polished graphical style, and they smash together in this really messy, weird way. It's the same thing with the music. It's like new versions of all the stuff, and a lot of it definitely sounds like more complex and layered. Like you definitely have more instruments going, and they're definitely more modern, somewhat more polished, but like they're so true to the original tracks, it sounds weirdly off kilter. The worst offender for the music are the little like 10-second musical stings that'll just sort of like loop that come up when you first get into a battle with somebody, where it's just like the music kicks in and then they talk to you and you get into the battle and the standard battle music starts. But for like 4 to 10 seconds, when you're talking to the person before the fight starts, you get a selection of different songs depending on what kind of trainer it is. So far, most of them are really fucking gross. It's like they knew they had maybe 10 seconds to make these songs, and they crammed so much shit into every one. There's like a kind of like rock style one that I've heard like once or twice that's like pretty good. But anything for like a little kid trainer or like a more whimsical style opponent is like a fucking high speed, janky, shitty fever dream smashed into like 10 or 11 seconds that just makes no sense and like hurts you physically to listen to. The actual battle music sounds great. Honestly, it's layered, it's dense, it's paced well, gets you into it, you know? A lot of the standard music sounds just fine. There's just these little moments where they like totally lost the plot and came up with something that like hurts your chest to experience it personally. There's so much about this game where they were like, it feels like they really wanted they had an idea, like the sketching and like the back of the napkin stage when they were figuring out what this remake was going to look like. And then when it came time to do it, they like lost those napkins or something, because so much that this feels like, I don't know, like there's no, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird how they tried to perfectly preserve the style of the old game while doing so in a way that feels more modern and kind of fucking up both things.
Huh.
It's like all of the textures they use are they're high enough quality, they're very clear, they're very crisp, they're very definitive. Also, the textures they chose for some of the background objects are kind of shitty. And the switch between like the chibi models that run around the maps and then the full-size ones that appear in battles is really jarring.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Because, like, it's fine when the perspective is locked and they're kind of distant, but they do this thing where they switch to a close-up shot for certain conversations and scenes, and it looks so wrong. You get Professor Rowan, or whatever his name is, the guy who hands you your first monsters to go do your dogfight journey with, and you get these close-up shots where he's talking to you, and it looks like they just took an expensive camera and zoomed in at a couple of keychain figures. It's so weird. Like, I haven't even processed any thoughts about the gameplay because I can't stop thinking about the baffling decisions they made for the aesthetics. The game itself is fine. There's features I can't talk about yet because a lot of stuff is weirdly locked to embargo. But, like, there's little things that they've done that are cool. And you know what? Like, the gameplay itself is great. It's very much just like Pokemon. It's a good generation they picked. It balances well combat-wise. I really appreciate that they've inputted the experience shares, like the default setting. You know, where just like everybody in your party catches it, so you're not like doing the exhausting, endless level grinding to try to get ready for a given fight. Yeah, like gameplay wise, like it's really smooth and it flows well and it feels great, and it's just a prime example of a Pokemon game. But I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking when they landed on the visual design and the music. Like, it's not, I'm not ready to call it like terrible or awful or the worst, but it's very, very weird.
I feel like this is a Nintendo thing in general. It's like with any game that they make, they focus in on something and make sure that that part of it is really well done. It's really polished. It's really great. It's a big upgrade from whatever happened last time. And other things just kind of fall away. They go to the wayside, and those things are often textures and such musical stings.
Who needs them?
Yeah.
The thing I've learned over the years is that the Pokemon Company cares exclusively about how the Pokemon look. And, you know, true to form, they look good. You know, good looking models.
It's really all that matters.
Yeah, everything else is there. They didn't forget to include anything. It's all present and accounted for.
Man, like, this sounds a lot like these fucking GTA remasters. The sort of weird lack of direction in the art and...
Well, no, not necessarily.
Questionable decisions?
There's very much a specific, clearly defined art design.
Okay.
I just don't understand why they chose it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like everything is very... There's a strange sort of polish where like every individual texture feels like they paid very careful attention to it. But then you kind of wonder what they were focusing on and what they wanted based on the end results. I'm gonna have a really hard time writing this review in like 2 days.
I was just watching the latest trailer that just came out today, and like if you took any singular piece of that trailer and looked at it, you'd be like, oh yeah, that looks really good. You know, look at the battles, they look really good. And look at the overworld stuff, it looks really good. It looks kind of like Link's Awakening remake did.
Yeah.
But then having those things jammed together side by side when now your chibi character is a adult human, it's a little weird. But in stark contrast to the GTA Trilogy remaster, the Pokemon games have reflective surfaces.
They do.
GTA couldn't get that shit right.
Well, the cars are shiny. They put a lot of work into.
Oh, I don't know.
They're
man.
shiny. Yes, they definitely shine. They probably don't shine as well as Pokemon, but there's a glisten. There's a glisten if you look. Yeah.
Yeah, they glisten. That's good. That's what you want. You want your cars to glisten.
Yeah.
they get a nice subtle glow.
Yeah. Just a nice hue.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if you want a Pokemon game, this is another Pokemon game. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's enough little quality of life things that like it feels like, it doesn't feel like gameplay wise, mechanically, it doesn't feel like a step back too significantly. Any more than like a Pokemon game already kind of is in some ways, but like there's like autosave and there's like the experience share and it just flows nicely, moves the way you want it to. It just feels like Pokemon. I just kind of wish they'd like picked an art direction and stuck with it instead of smashing two of them together like this. It's confusing.
Okay.
Well,
that's not exactly what I expected to hear, but interesting. I'll be watching for that review very closely.
Yeah.
Rhett, I see you also played Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, I did.
How the fuck is that?
And yo, it's fucking shocking how good it is.
Really?
I'm stunned. I'm absolutely stunned at how good this game is. It's everything that Avengers should have been. It's funny. It's interesting. The gameplay is good enough, you know. The combat's not anything to fucking write home about, but it's totally serviceable. It's kind of got this cool, it's not an open world game, but it kind of feels like it because each mission, like you go out and you do your thing, and then it's all about getting back to the ship, and then you take off and you go, and then you've got some downtime and you kind of decide where to go next. It's really good. It's really fucking good. And maybe just because I'm so rattled with Avengers, that's helping with this. But man, I'm just shy. I was talking to my friend about it, and what I've been finding is that I am so surprised at how much I'm enjoying it, or how much more I'm enjoying it every time I play it. Seems like every mission sort of pushes things a little bit further. It doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing over and over. Through the first, I don't know, maybe I put 7 or 8 hours into it. Through the first 7 or 8 hours, every level feels really diverse. It's
nice.
Cool. Yeah. When they unveiled the game, you saw the team and it looked like Avengers, and then they showed off like the enemies that you were going to be fighting, and they were these fucking like Jello cube monsters, and I'm like I saw that, I'm like, this cannot be happening. This can't be just another Avengers not cash grab, but just another fucking another blunder, another superhero blunder. And no, this game is the opposite of Avengers. It's like I said, it's everything that the Avengers should have been.
Really glad to hear that. I actually have it loaded up. I want to play it
I highly
before we get
recommend
to Game of the Year time, because it seems like one of those games that is actually really good. And,
Yeah.
just the way it was marketed or the way it was advertised, the way it showed up on streams didn't really communicate what it actually is. And it's going to go under so many different radars. So hopefully we can shine a little light on that.
Absolutely.
How do you feel about the how they've handled the characters? Because that was always a big point of contention with the Avengers game, is these are not the MCU characters, but also they're not different enough to be different. So how do you feel like that is in the context of Guardians?
I don't know, they all very, very much, maybe aside from Peter, they all feel like the same characters that you see in the movies. Although the one thing I would say is that if anything this game has done for me, it's solidified that my favorite character is Drax. The dude that is playing Drax is absolutely killing it. And it's not that he's like doing anything really different than what Drax does in the movies. It's just that the writing is so much better. It's so much more engaging, and it's like, it's sort of like a show that I really like is Entourage, because it's a really great like buddy kind of show where, everybody's got a friend where they could compare them to somebody on that show. One of the characters, they know somebody like that. And that's kind of how this Guardians of the Galaxy game is. How these characters have been written is that they just feel very much like your friends. They feel like your buddies, And in that sense, I think that they're a lot more interesting than they are in the movies.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. I'm
just
into
trying to look up who plays Drax.
Man, he's killing it. He's
Jason
hilarious.
Cavalier.
Jason Cavalier, big ups. Rocket has a really distracting lisp that I don't know where the decision came for I don't know the casting director why that was decided on, but Rocket has a really, really distracting lisp. And it only seems like it's getting worse the further I go on. It's like the actor started to feel lisp fatigue, and as he did the job more and more, he started to sort of fall apart more and more. I don't know if that was part of the character or if it just sort of developed as they were recording the voiceover. I don't know, but yeah.
Rocket is played by Alex Weiner.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, looking forward to playing that one. Even if the gameplay itself isn't, phenomenally interesting. So much of that whole franchise is the in-jokes and the music and
that is all there.
That vibe of the team.
Yeah. The soundtrack is absolutely stellar.
Nice.
They've got, oh man, it's fun going back like to the ship between missions and being able to select any one of the songs. You've got your boom box and you can pick through,
amazing.
Man, and it's it's like 30, 40 songs maybe. Like it's a good track list. There's going to be something for everybody in there. Yeah, they definitely like captured the heart and soul of Guardians. Way more so than the Avengers did with the Jesus.
Yeah, because I feel like with this one you can be a lot more focused. Like this team is very, they have their own identity a lot more than the Avengers, which is just like the biggest blockbusteriest fucking broadest appealist fucking team of heroes, where they're like, no, we got to cover every demographic at once. We can't be missing anybody, so nobody's particularly interesting. Whereas Guardians is like, no, these are 5 fucking spacefaring weirdos with a penchant for retro ass rock songs like that is a shockingly more narrow view, which allows for more depth with each one of the characters, which makes sense.
Very good point.
Good.
Yeah, I know I was definitely worried about this game before it came out. Just, watching how long their original teaser was. Like, they had a 30-minute thing in the Square Enix E3 thing, and it's like they really wanted you to see that, yes, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be a great time, and it did the absolute opposite. So,
oops.
Everybody in the universe was going. They took the Deus Ex team and made them make an Avengers spinoff. Why?
Yeah.
But seems like it was the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any other cool stuff people have been playing?
Meh. I mean, I played a Gundam game that they're releasing in like 3 parts.
Uh-huh.
It's structured very much like an anime. It's got like opening songs and ending themes and credits and like episode previews for stay tuned for next time. Which is a shame because the story itself is really boring.
Damn it.
The combat is fine, It's more strategic than you get from a lot of Gundam games in this generation. You got to be kind of careful and deliberate. You got to make proper moves. You got to, plan ahead. But man, it just built up. It just so much of the structure funnels into and feeds into the story and the importance of the story. And like, even if you know all the context for like when this takes place in the larger franchise, it's so boring. It's so boring. It's just like. Just a crack team of ladies piloting these Gundam, and they all have different abilities and strengths, and just the barest wisp of a personality spread to each one, so you can like tell them apart.
Oh God!
But like, oh man, oh, you mean the protagonist is plucky and enthusiastic and ready to prove themselves? Fucking perish the thought. I never would have seen that coming. It's just, I don't know, man. But it plays well, and it kind of made me want to watch actual Gundam so I could get a better story experience. So in that sense, it really succeeded in getting me interested in Gundam. Maybe more than any other Gundam game I've played in the last 2 years. This one's like, man, you should watch more Gundam. I'm like, I fucking should. But not this, not more of this. I'm good on this, but like the actual shows, hook me up, man.
Man, you really gotta fuck up bad to make giant robots boring. Honestly.
Yeah.
You really gotta screw the pooch. But that also makes me think of something that I played in the Bowels of Extra Life for like 45 minutes and completely forgot about while I was making this list. And that is Scarlet Nexus. Which actually seems kind of rad. It's a little bit like Platinum-esque. I don't know who developed it, actually. Might have been Platinum. It's like a Platinum game where you just kind of in a future world a la something like Nier. And you're doing cool destroying of enemies stuff and navigating around this city. I don't know. It seemed pretty cool. I don't really have any deeper thoughts than that, but I played it and I thought it was kind of neat.
All right, dope.
It's impossible to be critical at like hour 18.
No, man. No. You don't got it. You just no gas in the tank, man.
You're just trying to make it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't write down any news, but the news that I can think of off the top of my head. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, there was that Elden Ring demonstration and technical test. We finally got some more information about that game.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I watched the gameplay trailer that came out a day or two before the network test started, and I thought it looked fucking awful. Like, it looked like hot trash. Worse than any of the Dark Souls games, worse than any of the Bloodborne games. And then I watched someone streaming the game, and it looks beautiful. It looks so good. It looks like fun. What did they do to this trailer? Anyway,
They just when developers and publishers try to cut together, it's like, oh, we're gonna do a longer look at gameplay. They often fuck that up. I don't know what it is. They just don't know a lot, like, not all the time, but a lot of times they don't have a really tight grip on what about the game appeals to the audience. Which is, you work on the whole thing. You don't, you it's hard for you to like barrel down and like find the individual grains of goodness, right? You just think the whole thing is rad or none of it is or whatever, like you lose a certain sense of objectivity when you're working on a thing.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can't articulate that very expertly, but I get the feeling that's part of it. But yeah, I actually thought that there was definitely possibility of coolness based even on that fucking gameplay demo. Because like one of the things about Dark Souls games is that like you get these unavoidable, impossible, deadly encounters, and if the game is truly open world, like, can you just deke those? Like, if you're just like, man, I don't really want to fuck with this dragon, you just not?
I could very much see myself actually playing this game and enjoying it in much the same way I played and enjoyed Breath of the Wild. Avoiding contact and combat as much as possible. But
Yeah.
did not love breaking weapons every 14 seconds in Breath of the Wild, and I will not like dying to that giant dragon over there every 14 seconds in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
But if I can just go around and see this cool light tree and observe the vistas and take in the lore, that sounds pretty awesome.
And make your horse do a double jump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why haven't horses double jumped before? I'd like to know.
Fucking step it up, horses.
We've gone we've taken the contrivance, to its logical maximum with individuals and people and creatures. Why not horses? Why not mounts? Why can't cars double jump?
Oh, that'd be so rad.
Forza DLC? Double jump in cars?
The first racing game that gives cars the ability to do a double jump. Man, that's it. You're good.
That might be the middle point that Playground Games needs to hit between making a Forza game and making whatever else they're making. Is that Fable that they're making?
Really?
Maybe.
Fable?
It's something. It's some open world Microsoft thing. It might be Fable. But you could probably double jump in Fable. So why not test the waters in the Forza Horizon 5 DLC?
Yeah.
Car platforming. Let's see it.
Nice. Bring in Peter Molyneux to really hone in that double jump.
Whatever happened to Peter Molyneux?
He made fucking Fable 3, and then that was it.
I know, but what is he doing now?
He wasn't allowed to do anything else after that.
Oh, but he's got ideas. Somebody could pick him up.
Yeah, he's got ideas, but he's not allowed to use them.
He's probably just wandering around like grocery stores and Chapters and Starbucks and shit like that, just making these insane gaming presentations to like strangers on the street, or like try to like avoid eye contact and like pretend their headphones are plugged in or something. You know what I mean? Like,
wow, he's just a crazy old man now.
Yeah, just doing like man in the street TED Talks to people who truly do not want to be there at that moment.
Mm.
I'd like to be approached by Peter Molyneux and pitched an epic game world full of British humor and dogs that are more advanced than the era of gaming would suggest is possible.
Okay, but what if he was ass naked and he rolls up eating a burrito and he wants to pitch you this shit? He's got the Larry David crazy cul-de-sac hair.
I'd probably avert my gaze, but I think I'd still listen.
You'd still listen. Okay, fair enough. Okay. That's fair.
The other thing I was going to mention that has happened as of today is that, as was widely rumored and reported on cogconnected.com, Microsoft did in fact release Halo Infinite multiplayer today on the 20th anniversary of Xbox. So you can go download that right now. Halo Infinite multiplayer beta, they're calling it.
Oh, it's the beta.
It's the beta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stay tuned for some hot takes at some point in the near future about what kind of amazing shit they're doing in Halo multiplayer. Assuming they're doing amazing shit, I don't know. I'm like the second or third last person on the fucking planet you would go to for Halo hot takes.
I did see a few minutes ago a Steam notification that one Garrett Drake is playing Halo Infinite right now. So I can guarantee that he has opinions about Halo.
All right. Awesome.
I also have it on good authority that the Halo Infinite campaign is good. Like, not just passable, but really, really good. Which has me quite hopeful that it's not a complete dumpster fire. Even if I can't play co-op, it might be all right.
All right.
What, there's no co-op?
Not at launch, man. We talked about this last time, bro.
That's right.
This is disturbing.
You get co-op when it's ready, not before. Sometime 2022, probably.
Never mind that it's integral to the experience of Halo. Has been since day one in 2001. It'll be fine.
Right.
Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this podcast here, gents, fellas, guys, friends, co-workers, compadres, comrades.
Yeah. Look forward to my full review on Pokemon Brilliant Pearl and Shining Diamond, where I try to make some sense of the graphics decisions that were made and why they made them.
Oh, yeah. And keep it locked for my review of GTA, which I'll be doing something similar to what James will be doing with his Pokemon review.
And I'm assuming that both of those will be live by the time this podcast comes out.
They had better be.
Or you done goofed on an embargo.
Well, because, like, soon after that, I had to go get married and whatnot, and then I will be a little busy for video games.
Marriage. Hey, my embargo. No, I shouldn't say. There was no embargo for me. I just want to make this clear. No embargo because Rockstar did not release the codes until launch day, which, I'm just going to say it, it's never a good sign. Never a good sign.
Not once. Has it ever been a good sign?
Never.
That's right.
No, never.
That's a really good point. If you're out there listening to this or watching this, don't ever pre-order a game. There's no good reason to do that. Wait.
No.
Wait until it comes out, or wait until a review embargo lifts and one of your favorite video game personalities has taken a look at it, because you find someone that has similar tastes to you, they're probably going to give you the straight business when they're able to. And if they're not able to until launch day, that should tell you something. Either the company didn't want people to see how their game was faring, or it was coming in so hot that they could not possibly get the codes out before release. And that is also a problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You're getting married this weekend, James?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I
Congratulations.
had myself a fucking
Godspeed.
wife. Yeah. Yeah, a wife.
Everything's gonna change.
Yeah, the old ball and chain.
All those old adages. Yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just every stereotype, you know, whatever.
Well, good luck with that, James. I'll be rooting for you.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
And everybody else out there, you take care of yourselves now. You take care of each other, and take a look at cogconnected.com because it's got good stuff. Lots of good
It
stuff.
does. Very
On the
many
website,
things.
on the YouTube, on the Twitter, on the Facebook, Instagram, all those places. They all got good stuff. So go check it out, and then meet us back here sometime in the future. Probably our next episode will be a Game of the Year kind of thing. So keep your little eyeballs peeled for that. And we'll see you right back here next time on Press X the podcast. Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.